So good afternoon. Welcome to today's press conference for the presentation of a new innovative project which is supported by a grant initiative of the Stavros Niarchos Foundation. Before we move on, for those of you who don't know us or who may be watching one of our events for the first time through our web page, because we have live streaming right now, or through our page on Facebook, please allow me to tell you a bit about who we are and so that we can introduce ourselves. SNF, since 1996, when it started its charitable work, has supported non-profit organizations, and they aim through their action to support society as a whole and to contribute to its improvement bit by bit. So by supporting as an international non-profit organization, education, culture, arts, letters, sports, social welfare, we try as much as possible to support organizations which have a vision, which have integrity and ethics and leadership. So we're trying to support organizations which are trying to make our world a better place bit by bit. So today we're here for the presentation of such an endeavor, of such a project, Field of Life, led by Mr. Panagiotis Giannakis. We're also connected to the New York office, where the co-president of the SNF, Mr. Andreas Drakopoulos, and Mr. Tsamis, the executive director, are there. And Mr. Drakopoulos will talk to us about the vision which led us to this first presentation of the Field of Life. Good morning, Mr. Drakopoulos. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Lenya. We'd like to thank those of you who came here. We'd like to thank the team, Panagiotis Giannakis. You said a few things. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The philosophy that we have had as a foundation is to try to improve as much as possible, to the extent possible, of course. So we try to improve infrastructure for society, and not only regarding basic commodities, basic goods, but also in order for people to be able to realize their dreams. One such example was when we constructed the cultural center. This was something for the future. It was hope for the future. We also had initiatives to deal with the crisis. So now we're talking about a project. Panagiotis will give you more information, but it took over a year for the discussions to mature and for us to process this idea. So this project for me combines two things. It has to do with improving infrastructure, basic infrastructure for the youth, because our young people today, as we all know, have very few opportunities. Life is very hard, and we must do whatever we can to help them not only to realize their dreams, but also to give them some basic infrastructure so that they can go to a place that is safe, a place where they can socialize, where they can be creative, but also a very hospitable place. So when we scout for talent, this has to do with looking at life and searching for life. And I don't think that anybody could have been better placed to bring this to life. And every grantee is a close partner. And we've had excellent collaboration with Mr. Giannakis, and we are good friends, not only with Panagiotis, but also with the team. And we've all believed in the dream, in the vision of this project, which is quite innovative. But we believe that slowly but steadily, this project will acquire great strength, because I'm sure it can offer a lot to society and to young people. Panagiotis will talk to us more about this. But it's important. The name of the project is also very important. It's called Field of Life. For me, this means a lot more. It talks about a way of life as well, in my opinion. And Panagiotis is somebody who knows how to share success. As a player, he shared it with all of us, but also as a coach, and now as well. So he knows how to share success. And unfortunately, this is very rare. It happens very seldom. And this actually shows how successful Panagiotis is as a person and as a professional. So we couldn't have found a better partner to lead this effort, this project, because what we want to do is to offer young people, once again, better infrastructure, not only for basic infrastructure, but also because we want to help them achieve their dreams and believe that there truly is hope and that there are people who are interested in helping them in life. So Field of Life is a way of life. So we welcome Panagiotis and his team, and Dimitris and Kelly as well. And I hope that this journey will be a very successful journey, and I'm talking about the impact that it can have on society. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for the attendance. You're with us as we embark on a beautiful journey. It's a wonderful effort. And this effort came out of the fact that when I was a young man, I had concerns. I used to walk in the streets, but then we had these open spaces in the neighborhood, and that was an opportunity for us to make friends, to learn how to play various games and sports, and through such actions, a child could love some sport that was interesting. And I was very fortunate. I was extremely lucky because somewhere in Nikia, in one of the corners of Nikia, there were people who loved children, and they gave us the opportunity to learn about basketball. So I have my first teacher here, the first mentor. I was running there with other children from the neighborhood in the streets and in open spaces, and this man saw me. He saw that I was tall and lanky. My eyes were shining with passion, and he said, "Why don't you come and try out how to play basketball?" And I think that this is something that Andreas is also dreaming of, and please allow me to call Mr. Giannakis by his first name, Andreas. I feel that he's very close to me, and I believe that all Greeks should feel the same, because Mr. Giannakis, Andreas, loves Greece. He loves Greek children and Greek youth, and he wants to do things that will allow youth to be very successful in whatever they do. And this was a big embrace, a warm embrace opened by Viron Kritharis, but also by the other people who created a sports center, a place where people could play basketball. So I actually took the basketball into my hands. I worked hard, I was very passionate, and I traveled the world. So this is what we want to do here once again, and we are going to do this together. The president, his associates who work here very hard, and I see a lot of people in this room who work very hard, tirelessly, in order to help people who have few opportunities to succeed and to excel in life and to have more chances than before. So we know that children and young people have many concerns. They're very worried. They try to find ways to discover places or avenues that would allow them to discover things that give them pleasure, but at the same time give them the opportunity to unfold the talent lying within them, the untapped talent which they could not have unfolded otherwise, because the main aim is for them to use their talent and live a better life. So what we want to achieve is to create a place, a location, which won't only be for sports. It will be an attractive location, because we know there's a lot of temptation out there. So we want to create a place which will be able to offer many activities. For example, we might be able to help children to understand how they can succeed in school because they might have problems with homework, and then they might find somebody who can help them with the school homework for the next day. And then they can also discover which sport they can be good at and which sport they can practice, because we know that young people have many problems. They want to go to a safe and attractive place to practice sports. And we all know that young people today have a problem with their weight. Many are obese, so they need to understand what a healthy diet means, and they need to find out how to eat properly. And they also need to see how they can live their life and have a long life and live even to be 100. So they must know how to do things right when it comes to their body. And they must also be well versed in arts and music and songs, so we want to offer all that as well. So this will be a place, a location, which will give the opportunity to people who find it hard to go to such places, for example, because both their parents are working, their income, the family income is not enough, so they can't afford, for example, to go to a sports center. So we will prepare this place, and we will have with us people who love children and who can convey and pass on their knowledge to young people, so that they can be incentivized and so that they can do what they feel they can do well. And I think that our society is very fortunate, very lucky to have the president of the Stavros Niarchos Foundation, Mr. Andreas Drakopoulos, by its side. It's great that Mr. Drakopoulos is supporting such initiatives so that Greece has better infrastructure and so that Greece has a better future. I really have nothing much to add. I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming. Thank you for coming. And later on, we'll have more to say. Thank you very much. So now let's watch a short video. This just gives you an idea of what will follow, because we're embarking on a long journey. We will be in contact with all the latest information shortly. And after the short video, Dimitris Giannakis, project manager, and Kelly Giannaki from the field of life will give you more information about this new project.
Εδώ. Αλλά να μην σε νιώθει. Να ονειρεύεσαι μέσα από τα πρέπει. Να προσπαθείς, αλλά να μην φτάνει. Να είσαι μικρός, αλλά με όνειρα μεγάλα. Να έχεις το πάθος να ξεπεράσεις το αδύνατο. Πάμε να ανακαλύψεις το δικό σου ταλέντο.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. In the field of life, we have set a target. We want to support young people so that they can discover their skills by giving them the infrastructure and also the values so that they can reach the maximum. This is a very difficult endeavor, and we will base it on three main pillars. In 3 words, we can say sport, education, and culture. These are the 3 words, the 3 pillars. Mr. Giannakis says something that is very special, something extraordinary. And a young person must learn how to learn how to run, learn how to swim, learn how to eat correctly, eat right, and how to work with others. This young person is a potential champion, not just in sport, but in the field of life. And this is our target, that every child in this society become a champion in his life. So we embark on a journey, and in the next 3 years, this will materialize a building that will host all these programs that we are now preparing. It will be in West Attica, that's the location. And in this time period, in this 3-year period, we will have many actions so that very soon we will be able to help these young people, young children, so that they can achieve their dreams. Thank you. Initially, I would also like to thank you for your presence here today. The Field of Life is a project that is very close to our heart. And it is a very different proposal for young children, young people aged 6 to 18. It's for after school, and the main aim is for it to incentivize and to inspire. We all have strength within us and a talent that needs to be encouraged in order for it to be expressed openly. In spring, we will begin a series of actions in Nikia. And this will give you a small taste. It will give young children and young people a small taste of what will happen in the next 2.5 years. Sport, education, culture, some of the themes that the children and young people will be able to discover and learn about their own strength. So all the dates will be announced soon, and the program as well. Thank you very much. So we were all very brief. Brevity is the soul of wit. I think that we were so brief because now everything is in preparation. So we just wanted to share the vision, what is yet to come, and all the details as this journey will continue. Well, with just like with every grant initiative, everything will be made available through social media, our webpage, various events like this one, which we'll be organizing in the future. We are here, the team of Field of Life and the team of the SNF, to answer your questions. And in order for us to possibly add certain things that we might have missed and which we may need to mention. Yes, please, you have the floor. Could you please state your name and which media, if you're a journalist, you represent? Hello, Kostara Sofia from infokids.gr. I want to ask whether all children can enter or whether there'll be some eligibility criteria. Dimitri and Kelly, can you come to the podium and answer the questions? Can you please come forward? Could you please repeat the question, because I didn't hear it well. So my question is whether all children, whether all adolescents can come or whether there'll be some selection criteria. We don't want to exclude any child. We want all children and adolescents to have access to the programs that will be implemented in the field of life. But we have the anticipation that demand will be so high that the capacity of the venue of the building may not be big enough. So this is why we will also have the other programs that Kelly mentioned before, meaning we'll also have various actions outside the facility, and they'll be doing the same things. They'll be following the same material, if you like, same contents, but families and children that need this support more, well, they will be possibly given priority over others. Thank you. Yes, please. So field of life, is it only for basketball? So what's the theme? Or is it a field of life in general? Is it for all sports or just for basketball? So what's the theme, or are there many themes? So field of life and the programs of the field of life are not only focused on one particular sport. The aim is for the children to come into contact with all the three pillars, meaning education, culture, and sport. Sport has a lot. It includes a lot of different sports, a lot of different disciplines, and I think it's normal for one facility not to be able to contain all of these sports. But all the main elements, for example, field and track, basketball, football, and swimming, well, these will definitely be included in our programs as sports. Yes, please. I also wanted to add one thing, if I may, and I would like to summarize what we've said up to now. This new project, Field of Life, as was mentioned by Mr. Giannakis, is based on three axes or pillars, meaning culture, sport, and education coexist. It's not that sport is given more priority over the other two pillars, even though the leader of this NGO is Mr. Giannakis. We place equal emphasis on all three pillars. And from the new facility that will work within 2.5 and hopefully not 3 years, Dimitris, in Western Attica, but also through the programs mentioned by Kelly earlier, which of course will be out in the streets. They'll be in public spaces, in schools, in squares, in cultural centers, municipal cultural centers, as of the spring of 2020. So our main aim is to be able to bring school-age children, meaning from 6 to 18, so we're talking about young children and adolescents. We want them to have as many stimuli as possible in order for us to be able to help them, so that you can help them, you and the experts you'll be working with, so that they can discover their skills, their talents, what they could actually improve in order to become what? Complete human beings, active citizens, and happy people. So all this is done through this group of things, this cluster, this array. We're here to try and implement in Greece an example which has worked very well in other countries for many years, actually. And as a non-profit organization, we have been working for many years with Madison Square Boys and Girls Club in New York and other similar organizations that offer similar programs to the one we are preparing now, but of course ours is adjusted to the Greek reality. So in America, this has been working very successfully in the US for many years. So we're talking about venues and programs which keep children away from inertia, away from the streets, and which offer young children and adolescents the skills so that they can chase their dreams and make them a reality. Mr. Labiris, you have the floor. Good afternoon, Labiris Giannis from NEA. I'd like to say that just the presence of Panagiotis Giannakis, while you haven't realized how many children will respond to this call, and this will happen very soon. So my question is, do you have any plans? Will it be a gym? Will it be something that will be built from scratch? Will it be a basketball field or just a field of sorts? And apart from sports, because Panagiotis Giannakis also talked about the arts. So my question is, will there be something about arts, meaning music, drawing, painting, etc.? So the center that will be created in the near future will be designed so as to have a lot to offer. Of course, it will have a basketball field. It will also have other spaces, for example, like a swimming pool. There'll be a track, because track is important. There'll be dance offered. There'll be music classes. There will also be other activities as well. For studying, for example, there'll be places where one can study. So there'll be a plan, if you like. And as Lenya quite rightly said, a child can come and try to do things that this child would not have been able to try out otherwise. For example, if this child or teenager didn't have the money to go and pay in order to acquire such a knowledge, then this child, this teenager, can come to this new building which we will construct, and there this child or young person can try out various activities and different sports and see that maybe there's something they hadn't thought of practicing and they really love and enjoy doing. And that's where the role of the educators comes in, because they will support them all the way. And as I said, when we want to have a human being, a citizen that is all-rounded, well, this is very difficult, but this is the wager that we have set. And this is very close to our heart, as I originally said, because what we want to do is we all want to go up together. We want to exit the crisis that had been festering for so many years. And we want to give better opportunities to such children and teenagers. And there are many neighborhoods that will actually avail of the opportunity. So we'll help these young children and teenagers realize their dreams. And of course, we want to have a lot of people. I'm sure that the turnout will be very high, that demand will be very high, but we want to create a program so that we can go to these places too. And we hope that the response will be very good, and that the state will support us in various aspects so that we can go to these places and offer these services and knowledge to other children that are in need of it. So this is just the beginning. Panagiotis, maybe you or Kostas, or maybe both of you could give us more details about the venue, about the location, because that's where it starts from, the physical, if you like, building, the actual location. So maybe you can explain the building, how big it is in size, or the area in general, and what is included therein, because I think that's very important. That's the very heart of the field of life will be in this venue, and we will create this venue to meet all the needs that we just described. And something else that we've discussed is that in the first year, or even the first 2 years, we have our eyes and ears open, in the sense that we want to see where the needs are, where most needs are located, and we're not hesitant to try out programs that are necessary, programs that are missing. For example, mental health programs, robotics. So we can test a lot of different programs, and the one main aim is to give something to society. So this is an ongoing dialogue with society. It's a two-way communication with society. We want to sound the society and see what the needs of society is, so that we can best meet these needs. I don't know, Panagiotis or Kostas, maybe you can just give us a general idea of what this space or area will look like. First of all, let me clarify that field of life is all-inclusive. It includes everything. I am very happy that this area will be created, that this space will be created, because it will be able to help at least 350 to 400 young children and teens. That's the capacity. And then there will be various actions. And when I played basketball, it didn't just give me success, it didn't just give me a good body. It also changed the way I thought, my way of thinking. I discovered things that I would not have discovered otherwise. And through this, I believe that in the same way, someone can get something out of this beautiful area that will be created. One can learn how to play music, modern music, or classical music. We want the children and the teenagers to tell us what they would like to do there, and we will have this ongoing relationship with them. It's a two-way communication. So the children and the teens will do something for their body, but as I said, basketball offers a lot of things that people need, that human beings need, meaning your strength, physical strength, speed, you develop speed. It's also good because it makes you smarter, more intelligent. So you have a lot to gain when you play basketball or other sports. So this is good for the children. They'll learn how to swim, how to run, how to collect information, because in sports, if you don't collect information, you can't grow. And this means that he or she needs to become a better student at school, not because they want to try and do new things, but they will go and prepare and do their homework and be ready for next day of school. So it's not going to be a school, it's a place where the children can have fun, where there'll be computers, where they can play with friends and have fun with friends. They'll be able to play board games and other games for enjoyment. But they'll also be able to practice sports in order to improve their sports skills. We also said in the beginning that field of life is also a way of life. It's exactly what you just said. So maybe you could also talk to us a bit more about something else. A lot of effort has been put into it. It's not something that we decided just yesterday. It's a huge project. And I'm talking about the financial aspect, but also about what we need to do in order to implement it. So Dimitris and Kelly have come to America. They went to Los Angeles, Miami, New York, and they've seen similar centers there. And I think you also went to Europe, or you will be going to Europe. So maybe you can talk to us about what you've seen so far, and which could be included in the field of life project. Of course, we went to the States, and these programs are highly developed, they're very advanced, and we're talking about the daily life of a child, of a teenager. For example, a child might want to learn how to comb his or her hair, to draw, and to actually to do robotics, or to learn about fashion and design, fashion design. So there are certain things that are very particular, and a child and teenagers given the opportunity in these centers to learn more about themselves, about their friends and their families. Most of the children there were children with difficulties, that had difficulty staying at home, meaning their parents were both working, so they couldn't stay at home by themselves, or they stayed with their grandparents. So this center was an area where they could do a lot of things and be very creative. We also saw an action that was for high school students, and they had just finished or were about to finish high school. There was a garage, and there they could learn how to chop wood, how to do carpentry, how to screw a bolt or a screw, and look at the cinema, look at music, and see how engines work, and all sorts of things. We were really impressed when we saw this. This trip gave us a wealth of information, but we were also surprised by the love and impressed by the love of the Stavros Niarchos Foundation and Mr. Tsamis and Mr. Drakopoulos, Mr. Vasilakis, Mr. Alexopoulos, because we were working directly with him, Mr. Liveris. So all the people here have embraced us. They are so close to us, because this Field of Life project is something that will leave a big imprint on the lives of Greek children and teenagers, particularly those who can't afford to participate in such programs, in such activities. And this is another matter that we will try to work on. We want to be as objective as can be so that most children who can come will actually be attending. Of course, the weekends will be the days when we will have more children that will come for the first time to familiarize themselves with the building. This will be quite a big area, big enough to hold all these children and teenagers. It will be very attractive as well, and this is something that from the get-go we've recognized, i.e. that children want to take up sports, they want to take up music and learn robotics, they want to do all these things and these activities, but at home, all they have is a chair, a table, and the warmth of the family. But then they can't find something similar, something where they feel cozy, where they feel at home. And we want to create such a lovely, very hospitable place where children will leave the comfort of their home and go to this building and write songs and compose and play music with their friends. So the children will write the music and then play the music together, or somebody can go and dance and do theater, and why not even makeup, because they can learn how to put on makeup and become makeup artists, for example. So all these things may sound small, but they are huge, actually. They're huge because these children, these teenagers will understand that there are people there who want to help them and support them, and that have created a space which is their space, a space which will be built so that children and teenagers can love life more, so that they can love themselves more, so that they can love their colleagues and associates more. I think that the contribution is invaluable, the contribution of the field of life. Kostas, Dimitris. So before we give the floor to Kostas, you said something that is truly great. We want them to feel that this space is their space. And I think that with your guidance, this can be achieved. And I'm going to talk about the Stavros Niarchos Foundation Cultural Center. Why is it so successful? It's successful because people believe they own it. There's a sense of ownership. They feel as if it's their cultural center. So we want something similar for this field of life. We want young people to feel that they're going somewhere which is their place, where it's safe, where it's creative, where it's hospitable, and so that they can go to their place. It's like a second home. That's what we want. And I think that this is the underlying philosophy of this project. So if we manage to achieve it, everything else will be of minor importance. Thank you. Kostas. Just two technical pieces of information, technical elements, because you asked. So practically speaking, as a space, we have started the design now. We are actually studying all the information, but we have identified the needs regarding the building, and we want to follow the 3 pillars or 3 axes: culture, education, and sport. So what does this mean in a nutshell? There will be fields, open fields and indoor fields, basketball fields, football fields, and so on and so forth. There will be educational spaces which may be flexible, where they can do robotics, but where they can do where they can study, or where they can do something else in relation to education. And there'll also be cultural areas. So we're talking about music, for example, or a recording studio, or a place where the children can socialize and be with their friends and hang out with their friends, or a place with electronic games, for example. It could be anything. Everything, however, will have been clearly defined. So we will work on this list. This list has already been decided on, and this is what we will use as our basis. You'll hear about the rest as we go along. And we also hope that in January we'll be able to give you specific information regarding this area as we move on, because everything is in progress. Everything's in the pipeline. And then we'll give you the exact location, the designs, and so on and so forth. So are there any other questions, any statements? Thank you very much. But before wrapping up, and because we said that the field of life promotes, among other things, a healthy way of life, in the center, we will offer on a daily basis to the children and teenagers a snack and a healthy meal. A healthy snack awaits you, and we expect to see you with us soon. We'll keep in touch and give you more information about the field of life. Thank you, Lenya. Thank you, Panagiotis, Kelly, Dimitri. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Have a nice afternoon.